we go, guys. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GforGuzman podcast. Mike G, we're back at it. It's Friday. I'm feeling good. We're doing good. The show goes on. The saga continues. And you know what? Even if the saga didn't continue and the show didn't go on, and this proved to be our last episode for the GforGuzman podcast, I can't think of any better way to end it than with this guest right here, Ruben, Bicos Guzman. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, man. I say it all the time, and I think people feel that I'm like disingenuous with it, but it is truly an honor, bro. Like the honor is all over here to have you, man. Honestly, I say it a lot, and I mean it every time I say it, dude. Just because when you told us when we asked you and you said yeah you were gonna come on, honestly, it's just for me personally speaking, you're one of the smartest guys I know, and to have you on here is just an absolute treat. So I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to have a blast tonight. Thanks so much for being here, my man.
So, yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on like my bigger brother, dude. Like, we go way back. But in saying that, I've known you my whole damn life, and I gotta ask, because I don't even know the legend behind the nickname Bicos. Where the fuck did that come from? Like, how did that, where did that come from, dude? Because we all call you that.
Well, we can all give thanks to Salito, because Salito, since he was
Shout out
little,
Salito.
he had a special candy that he always liked. It's called Toficos. And from what my mom was telling me is that every single time I would wake up, he would always ask for that candy. And he would always say, Tofico, Tofico. And he would always look at me. And my mom's like, okay, well, we'll just call him Bicos from here on out.
Yeah.
So from there on, I got the nickname Bicos.
Yeah. Because it's stuck, like, I mean, when, you were playing soccer, like, even white people would call you that, like, random-ass dudes, like, Bicos, your white brother-in-law calls you that, And it's just crazy, because, like, that's, like, pretty much your name, like, and I never knew, because, we talked about it not too long ago, like, why do we call him that? Shit, I don't know, like, we heard people calling him that, and we kind of stuck.
It was like known, right?
Yeah, but I never knew the legend behind it.
The legend. The legend. And we learned, no offense, that name comes from a Mexican candy, right? Yeah. No,
and Salito being an idiot.
And Salito, right? Yeah.
We always joke.
He was like 14 when he was saying that, right? Like, Salito, damn, say the word right. No,
yeah,
shout out Salito if you're listening. It's going to beat my ass after this.
My sister always, we always joke around on that. It's like, they must have told Salito spell Ruben, and he said Bicos. Ruben.
Yeah.
So it was like,
he was a little dyslexic.
You gave me your mom, like, Mom, was I close? Like, yeah, she didn't have the heart to tell him, right? Yeah, that's it. That's how you spell it, right? Yeah, C-B-O-C. Oh, that's great, man. It's a fun fact for those who are watching. Your first name's Ruben, obviously.
Ruben.
My father's name is Ruben, and you guys were both named after our grandfather Ruben Guzman. So, quick little fun fact. We're going to quiz everybody at the end of the show, and they better remember that. No, man, honestly. So, like I said, I'm just going to say it again. Thanks so much for being here, dude. Great dude. I was trying to kiss your ass, and I butchered it at the beginning of it. But I'll say it again. You're one of the smartest guys I know, one of the coolest guys I know, man, honestly. And I can't say it enough. Every time we've hung out, just from me being a kid growing up, I don't think there's been a conversation I've seen you in or a topic that's been discussed where you don't have, like, a meaningful contribution to it or have, like, a clear-cut understanding of what we're talking about. And, I picked up on that as a kid, so that's where I come from. That's what I mean when I say one of the smartest guys I know, just someone who's eloquent and can just discuss anything. That's what I consider like a badass guy, man, honestly.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, honestly.
Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, no, honestly. Honor's all over here on this side, for sure, man. Sure. And you have a great-ass story that we're gonna get to at some point in this podcast, and we're really looking forward to it, man. And I think it's gonna, anybody who's watching, it's definitely gonna hit home on so many levels. So I'm really excited to talk about that, man. But just for starters, how have you been, man? What have you been up to?
I've been trying to build my house now.
Awesome.
I've actually been trying to build it for the past year, but with this COVID stuff, it was hard to get permits and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah, now it's in the beginning phases now. I mean, they finished the plumbing, the rough plumbing right now. So as long as I see progress, it makes it that much enjoyable. I think it's
like the whole essence of life, right? As long as you're seeing something done, it's always going to be. I feel like we've hit this COVID whole thing on the head so many times, right? But the bottom line is it's affected so many people that you have to. It's just going to come up, right? Because it's affected everybody in some way, shape, or form. Like you said, you're building your house right now, And even that I have no idea what goes into building a house. So
it's a process. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can only.
Luckily for me that I'm out of job right now, it makes it a little bit more easier for me because I can take the time to go see what they're doing, inspect it, and make sure it's done correctly.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know anything about plumbing, but as long as it's in this right spot, I know that it's supposed to go there.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier for me. For people that are working and trying to build their house, it's crazy. It's hectic. Because they have to take time from work to go out there to inspect and then sign off on the paperwork to make sure it's correct or not. But for me, it's easy right now that I'm not working.
But going back to COVID, I think it's something that you look like a positive, right? In this mess that we're in now, like where everyone's just kind of home and being bums. At least you have like some huge project going on that you kind of look forward to every day. So that's good.
Is that usually how it typically goes? Like for someone who's building a house, do they take, like you're actually building it from scratch to up, right? I mean, you bought your land. How much land do you have?
5 acres.
5 acres?
Yeah.
That's a lot of land.
It's
good. It's like on The Sopranos, that great quote, like buy land, right? Because God's not making more of it, so get some land, right?
It's a good investment.
For sure. I think that's like the general rule of thumb of like investing. Get land. That's never going to like go out, right? But so you're really taking the reins on like building your house and all that. Is that usually how the process goes? Like when you're trying to build a house? Like
if you want to live in a home, you have to build it, man.
Oh, no. I mean, is it somebody like, are you, because you're overseeing it from what I'm understanding, right? You're making sure everything's in check. Like,
so now his like,
I can't imagine everybody has the same like intellectual capacity as
like
Bicos.
Here, my home, right? I went, looked in a subdivision. This home was already here. Somebody lived in it previously, and I bought it, right? In his case, he's having, a custom home built on the property he already owns.
No, that's what I mean. And like for scenarios like that, do most people who are having their home built oversee that? Are they like the foreman of that project?
It's really, you're not being a foreman, but since you're actually just paying for that house, so you want to make sure it's done correctly, pretty much. So, like, I guess the way I see it is that you get a whole loan for your house build, and the builder, as he finishes tasks, he takes withdrawals from that total amount.
Yeah.
So I guess you want to make sure that they're not using crooked boards or cracked boards. So later on in the day, you won't have foundation problems to where you have to spend more money at the end of the day to try to repair that foundation problem that if you would have seen it the first time, you would have caught it and then it would have been done right the first time. So that's pretty much what you have to do as a home builder.
Yeah.
Custom home builders, when you see it being erected, you have to kind of make sure they're using the right material and doing the right process.
Well, it kind of goes back to my point, though, because, I mean, even just hearing you say that, it sounds like you have a pretty good, at least general idea of what's good and what's bad quality, right? But, I mean, I can't imagine that every new custom homeowner knows these things, right? So it's either they have someone else going. I'm sure that's how it works, right? They have somebody who does know about that stuff going out to the land.
Yeah, they'll have inspectors going out there, too.
That's what I meant. So they hire inspectors, or it might just be a family member that they get out there, right? Okay, that's pretty cool. I know Mandy and Eric, I mean, they bought their own house already. They just moved in a couple of weeks ago, but they were initially trying to build a custom home, but just that process was really grueling from what I heard from them, and difficult, that you really got to put in the time, personal man hours for it.
It's time and effort that takes into account.
Awesome, man. And then you have your land that you're also trying to upkeep, right?
Oh yeah.
But we were talking before, and that's actually like almost like a therapeutic, activity for you at this point, right? Going out there in your tractor. We'll talk about your tractor, bro, because that thing is souped up. I still haven't seen it, but from like the descriptions from like you and Ross and Salito tell me, like, I'd rather have that than my car. I want to drive that to work, honestly. So
you really don't, because it's a slow thing.
Especially right now with COVID.
Especially right now with COVID and this fucking damn heat, man.
Now, the tractor is nice. I mean, it's enclosed cabin, has AC, it has a radio in there, Bluetooth radio, so connect Spotify, you go to town. Yeah. It's actually really, like you said, it's therapeutic. I mean,
man, honestly.
I just get in there, turn it on, play the music, and I'm just going to town.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many hours I've been out. It usually takes me like 4 hours to cut that.
4 hours to cut all 5 acres? Yeah. Like when you bought the land initially, were there like trees and all that you had to knock out?
Yeah, there's trees. Well, it was already partially cleared, but the grass was really, really high. So when I first went to go cut it, I had to go over it like 2 to 3 times over it because tractor would just.
But shit, 4 hours is still pretty good for 5 acres.
Well, he has a big ass tractor too, though, right? But
I
still,
think I could push mow in like 5, probably.
Because I'd push mow that in like 3 and a half.
Not the self-propelled, the one like you have to like,
the ride along.
Yeah, and just push the shit.
I knock it out in 4 hours with like the little rake thing that you like scrape. You know what I'm talking about? To get the weeds out.
Those lawnmowers, the ones that have the blade that turn.
What?
The ones that you push, but there's like a blade that turns.
That's the 1950s lawnmower, bro. You're going old school on that one,
bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, so like, fuck COVID, right? Like, we're not really gonna talk about that, but like, obviously, there ain't shit to do right now. Sports came back not too long ago. Huge Rockets fan, right?
Oh yeah.
So I've been keeping up with it, man, and I'm a huge fan. I just can't get into the games, dude. How do you feel about that? Like watching them, bro?
Without
it's like
the
summer
fans,
league, bro.
Yeah. Without the fans, it almost looks like high school basketball. Yeah. That's what I look at.
I kind of like it a lot right now. This bubble thing, man. Honestly,
I was like asking it for him. Yeah, nah, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
He's right. You're right. No, I'll defer to you, man.
Go ahead.
I know. It's funny that he said that because coming into this podcast, I was saying to myself, like, this should be the podcast that I probably talk the least, and it's only and it's only because I have so much respect for for what you bring to the table.
Not my brother.
Not my brother. I have to talk with Michael because he's going to say something stupid, and I have to cover his ass or something goes awry. But no, man, I was like, no, Bicos is coming on. One of the smartest guys I know. So much respect that when he comes on, there's no reason for me to talk. He can definitely hold his own and talk about so many things in like a such higher capacity than I can.
Hey.
So it's not going to happen. Everybody knows I like to talk too much, and it never goes that way. I don't know when to shut up. But it's funny he says that because he was asking you. But no, going back to the Rockets thing, I really like the bubble concept just for 2 reasons, really. I think it finally gives the Rockets an edge just so James Harden won't choke in the playoffs. Now it's like he's playing like pickup game in the gym where he probably thrives. And same with Russell Westbrook, right? All that pressure kind of they're still trying to do like the home court advantage. And
there really
is
no,
but there's no home court
advantage.
Not.
I mean, they put the what is it like
the logos, right?
The colors inside,
the
it's a logo, but
and then they get the fans like to be supporters of the home team, right? But that doesn't make a difference. Yeah.
Honestly, like right now, in my opinion, this is Houston's best chance, like
to win a championship,
winning a championship
for
that reason. Because I think we've had the talent in previous years. It's just
can't execute, choking.
Going to Golden State, Harden, man, for some reason, like
that's what kind of upset me.
And I think this is a year where like forget about all that and just play, which he has been. And I think they have the edge.
I just think that with James Harden, he's too busy trying to score so many points during the regular season that come playoff time, he's exhausted.
Kind of burnt out.
Yeah, so maybe that's a benefit for us, right? That they had like a 5-month hiatus or whatever it was.
They had a shortened season this year.
Exactly. And
so, and I guess the key thing would be people staying healthy because Russell Westbrook right now with the strain.
So we're starting off the playoffs. When do they start? Next week?
Start
Tuesday.
So
they're playing OKC, man.
That's going to be a tough.
Yeah.
Chris Paul is coming back with a vengeance, man.
And he's going to try to prove the Rockets wrong.
Honestly, this year he's been balling out.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I think we made a mistake trading for him this past season, dude. I love Russell Westbrook. Like if you look at it from like a cost analysis perspective, obviously he's more bang for the buck in the long term, but the Golden State Warriors, who were the only hindrance from the Rockets winning a championship, they get out. Why wouldn't you just do one more season? Like, hey, our biggest opponent is done.
Right.
Let's try to get to the championship now. Who's going to stand in our way? And then they just completely do a 180.
But I don't think it was just Daryl Morey. I think he probably knew Chris Paul wanted out because I think him and Harden really had beef.
They didn't get along. I don't think so.
I put that on Harden though.
So Daryl Morey was like, this guy's going to want to leave. Or they're not going to have chemistry anymore, so I might as well get rid of them for somebody that's pretty damn good, kind of in their prime still, right? And,
and he's like boys with Harden. They're best friends, supposedly.
So he's locked up for a few years, right, under contract?
I don't know about Russell Westbrook, though. He's been struggling a lot.
Oh, man.
His little short range.
The thing is, man, like when he was in OKC, like he had the ball. He would drive and score. Now Harden has the ball, and Westbrook is not a good shooter, bro.
He's not.
So that's honestly with the Rockets offense, like you need to know how to shoot the damn basketball.
Well, they did make a pretty good adjustment with him, honestly. They're doing that whole small ball thing where now everybody else except when he's on the court is a spot-up shooter and can shoot.
Yeah.
And he just drives. He penetrates, right? That's his only goal, and then he'll kick it out if they double team or something. So it was working. I mean, we're like on a 2 or 3 game losing streak right now. Which really doesn't matter at this point, just because
we're just trying to top 5.
Yeah, we're top 5.
I just don't like how they play down to their level of their opponents. Like we'll play good against the Lakers, we'll play good against the Bucks, Giannis.
Yeah. And then you play someone in the
we'll
Spurs,
play Portland Trailblazers, and we'll lose. So
they got our number,
I think
man.
they're a threat, though. Dude.
Portland Trailblazers,
they got our
really
number,
good.
Bro.
Everybody was hoping. I bet you the Lakers were hoping that they wouldn't get.
Honestly, like
the
to me,
seat.
like our brother-in-law Eric is a huge Lakers fan.
I'm kind of a Lakers fan right now as well, dude.
I like LeBron a lot. I don't like the Lakers, but I think they're overrated right now, dude. Honestly, and what it is, in my opinion, is like they can't score enough damn points, dude, to keep up with anybody.
They don't have to, though.
Yeah,
they don't have to. Man. No, I mean, besides who you're going to play, the Rockets. All the high-scoring percentage teams besides the Rockets aren't even in the playoffs, so they have a pretty good defensive team. So
they got a good defense.
That's their benefit, right? And they have the floor general in LeBron. That's gonna
and AD. I mean, AD is a pretty good center because he can spot up for the three-pointer and shoot the three.
Exactly.
So
they'll get to at least the Western Conference Finals.
The only way that they're gonna do anything, even get to the Western Conference Finals, is like two guys from that team are gonna have to like really step up.
I think they will. Yeah.
Because if they all slack off and it's just LeBron and AD, they ain't gonna do shit.
I'm defending them because they're my backup team right now. If the Rockets get out, I mean, obviously I'm all in for the Rockets, right? I hate on them the most, but it's because I love them so much. I have so much loyalty to them. It just disappoints me when they can't capitalize on their opportunities. But if the Rockets get knocked out,
you're rooting for the Lakers?
Yeah, that's my two. Who's your number two? It's not the. Don't say the Clippers though, bro.
No, you know who's gonna piss me off more than the Clippers? Don't say Milwaukee, dude.
Huh?
Because I hate Giannis, dude.
I hate Giannis too, but Milwaukee's got the best chance. I think.
I thought it was a bad idea inviting him.
Let's go.
Nah, in reality, I think it's the Toronto Raptors. I would like the Toronto Raptors.
That's like my second team because they're like kind of that underdog, right?
Yeah,
like one of
they
the
don't
best
have no
players
superstars
left.
Yeah,
they didn't really go sign anybody else,
and they're still doing good,
bro.
Yeah,
well, they're number two, right? Number two in the East.
All they have is Kyle Lowry and Siakam. That one guy.
Siakam. Van Vliet's been balling out this year, though, dude. That point guard,
what's his name's a good defensive
Serge Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka.
Marc Gasol's still in there. They have a good team, man. They have a good team. I think it's going to end up being, I hate to say it because I want obviously the Rockets to win a championship, but it's going to end up being the Lakers and Clippers in the West, in the Western Conference Finals.
You know, for like starting like controversy for whoever watches the podcast, and even with you two guys, I know Bicos going to hate me for it. But you know who I'm kind of...
No, it's okay because he already hates you.
Well, yeah, so but like hate me a little bit more if that's possible, is who I like, and I think I'm going to jump shit because I hate the Texans, bro.
Damn,
I think after this season, I might be a Cowboys fan, bro. I might be a Cowboys fan, bro.
Man.
A Cowboys fan.
I might, dude.
That's like a kick in the nuts with
this guy.
pointy boots.
Yeah, that is the biggest sellout move I've ever heard you say in my life. The Cowboys. What?
See, I wouldn't even go for
He's
Kansas
like,
City.
God damn, how about them Cowboys, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't even go for the Chiefs, man.
Like, next time y'all come over...
I don't like the Chiefs either. I don't like Patrick Mahomes. But there's something about him that...
Next time y'all come over, not only am I going to have the jersey, I'm going to be wearing the pants and the helmet, dude.
You're going to go full Theo Hector on us, right? So he dresses out for those Cowboys games, yeah.
I'd rather root for the no-names, the Washington.
Shit,
I don't know what they're
Washington, blank helmet.
For the Houston, who's the XFL team? The Houston
Roughnecks,
right? Yeah.
The Rock bought them, dude. He built them out.
He was doing Vince McMahon a solid, bro. Going back to those WWE days.
That's what he said.
For all that salary.
I wanted to help him out because they were going to go. They filed bankruptcy.
Yeah.
But I think he invested some money into it to keep him afloat.
He bought the whole organization for like $15 million or something like that.
Well, the Roughnecks aren't going to be that good either because half their team left.
Yeah.
Professional
well, that's what it's going to end up being. It's going to end up being like a minor leagues for them, you know. Because the NFL doesn't have like a farm league or a minors or anything, right? It's either if you don't make it in the NFL, you go to like the Canadian Football League, right? So that's what we're going to end up doing with the XFL.
That's probably the second best league, huh? Well, not that there's that many, but it's like. You're not in the NFL, but good enough you're playing in Canada.
Yeah, CFL. That's
where
they
have like semi-pro leagues, I think, but it's just like
those
guys are playing
like
Canadian
is like
football fields
probably higher paid, so they usually get the best talent outside of the NFL.
Yeah, like with basketball, you have the European League that's pretty good paid.
Basketball is the most well. I mean, besides soccer, obviously. After that, it's basketball that you're gonna play all over. They have leagues set up everywhere.
So that leads me. He mentioned soccer, so. Talking about your beloved Monarcas, dude, from Morelia. They jump shit, and they're playing like in
Mazatlán,
dude.
Yeah.
So much corruption over there, dude. Cartel bought them off or something.
That's crazy. That's sad there, man.
That's depressing, really.
All
man.
that
because
that
when you look at it, like
Morelia
is a pretty damn big city.
Yeah.
It's not like they're playing in like Querétaro, you know?
How dare you? How dare you talk about Querétaro, dude?
Morelia, dude.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. You know?
Next to Tia Maria's house.
The canchas over there.
Have practice
like
at,
10 pesos.
But then they leave
indoor
to Mazatlan.
Yeah. I don't know if I can watch Mexican soccer no more.
Well, I never did.
It's garbage. Are they even back? And they're playing right now?
Yeah, they're playing right now.
Oh, yeah. It's
But they're with no fans, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, every league right now is playing with no fans.
Nah, I thought
No.
somebody's playing with fans, dude, because there's a big thing with.
Well, I know football's gonna have. Jerry Jones said he's gonna have
MLS, dude. The DC United.
They had fans
in Dallas.
Well,
yeah.
the MLS has like 20 fans
FC
on
Dallas.
a regular basis, right?
They allowed people.
Nobody's going to those
the only
games.
reason I know is because I saw it on Yahoo, right? And like all of the players and the refs kneeled, and the fans that were in the stands started booing. And they interviewed one of the black players after, and he was like, "It's disrespectful. Like as fans, how you booing and all." That's the only reason I know that they're allowing fans, and they said they're the first like sports league in the U.S. that's slowly allowing fans. I don't know if it was full capacity.
Well, even the bubble in the NBA, I think they're allowing
family members back
family
in.
members. I don't know if they've initiated yet, but I think I read on Bleacher Report like for the playoffs, they're going to allow like a handful of people to come like per
the
player.
Wives and
the
kids,
wife and like one kid or something. And I know like in the UEFA league, they were members of the team, right? It's obviously not just random fans. It's like people who are part of the organization or family members of the organization who they're allowing to come in and watch the game. Like the UEFA when it was Juventus versus, who knocked him out? Who knocked him out last week?
Yeah, it was
Juventus
they lost
and Lyon. It was Lyon. Juventus and Lyon.
Nah,
I think there was like
Lyon,
200.
bro.
Yeah, it was Lyon. It wasn't Lyon?
No, it wasn't Lyon.
It was some mid-tier team, whatever. Anyways, they have like 200 players in a stadium that's like fit for 80,000, whatever. So, and they have them all separated. So there's really no fans, not enough fans to make a difference in the game, whatever. So it's crazy, man.
Well, that's what Jerry Jones was saying. Jerry Jones said they're going to allow 25% capacity at the Cowboys Stadium. So
does he have authorization to do that? You think that
I
NFL would have to
NFL
approve
would tell
it,
them,
right?
Yeah.
But
I think the way so the government hasn't shut down like the stadium, I don't think, or hasn't put like restrictions on like
I think
sports.
It's like state by
so
state.
I think, in Texas, you know, like they've shut down bars. I think is the only thing that's shut down
here in Texas.
So I mean, I think it's up to the owner or whatever of that, you know, to use his discretion, and then I'm sure there's like capacity stuff, maybe 50%.
Yeah, Roger Goodell, he's a joke, kind of. You know, that's kind of, I feel like everybody thinks that about him anyway. So of course he would let something like that slide. You know, all the players are like upset, like Russell Wilson and all that. Like, we're not going to play unless you have like a plan implemented for our safety and all that.
But
they haven't done anything, bro.
Yeah, but to me, man, it's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Well, it's different with football though.
You're getting paid $25 million,
bro. There's so many
and that's the thing that pisses me off. You're making almost $30 million a year.
It's the principle.
No, it's not even that. But you know damn well these sports teams have the best medical staff. They have tests there at their disposal. If every 10 minutes they wanted to take one, they're going to have that. They have probably the best medical care in the whole goddamn country, and you don't want to go play football, bitch, you're making $30 million. It's like, shut up and go play.
Just go out there,
Go play. You want to chill.
I think, to that point, I think the NBA bubble has the best scenario of keeping them safe because they're not traveling from city to city to city. They're just in Orlando. They'll go play a game, go to their hotel, play a game, go to their hotel.
Yeah, unless you're Lou Williams, right?
Yeah,
and getting caught in the strip club eating chicken fingers.
That's the issue, right?
He wanted his chicken wings.
Yeah, he wanted his chicken wings. Man. That's what he wanted.
I only came here not for the strippers because they have the best chicken wings in the city.
Everybody knows strip clubs have the best burgers in the finger foods.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's universal truth. Yeah, so you can't blame him.
It's like he had a pocket full of ones.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
I'm here for the chicken wings.
They're the best, man. They're the best. No, it's crazy. I mean, because everybody, it's easy to like criticize people like the NFL and the MLB and players and all that, right? For like comments, it's easy for us to say that, but kind of going back to what I was saying, like in the beginning, we're living like in such a crazy time right now. Everybody's like playing off the cuff, right? So you really you're adapting on situations that you really have no clear-cut understanding of, you know, what's going to be the outcome of it. So you can't really blame people for being skeptical or scared. And then us, not to like segue into like politics or anything, but you can't even really believe at this point with all the social media coverage and stuff of what's actually true anymore. You know, who's being honest, who's being sincere with what they're saying. So, like, my point to that is, like, at the end of the day, you just kind of have to take care of what's in front of you, right? I mean, you have a family, you have loved ones, you take care of that.
I'm still to the point to where I think what will relax everybody's mind is if there was a vaccine out for it. Mm-hmm. Right now, there's no vaccine, so people are, like, scared of, if I get it, there's a chance I'm going to die or get really,
going back
really
to those
sick.
NFL players, right? It's easy to say that, but it's like, well, there's nothing implemented to, you know.
But my thing is, like, at the end of the day, and again, I'm not having to be held to that standard, right? So it's easy for me to say, to your point. But if you told those NFL players, all right, dude, we'll forfeit your $30 million
you won't get paid
and stay home. You're not going to get paid. Go claim unemployment and just take the year off. You're right. You're not safe. They'll say, fuck that. I'm going to go play.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to lose $30 million.
Where's my helmet? Where's my pads?
And that's the thing. So don't use that it's because you want to be 100% safe for your family, because maybe some, but I think most.
I think it's the lower players that are really scared. I mean?
Yeah.
But like you say, the people that are making 30, 40 million plus.
Well, the ones who are super outspoken.
I'm going to get paid my $30 million and take the year off.
The major superstars are outspoken, because I'm sure everybody's like speaking out, but the only one people care to cover are the superstars, right? I think everybody at this point is like pushing some sort of agenda, right? They're getting paid in other places, right? These superstar NFL players, basketball players, they got buddies in high places, whatever, buddies in low places who are telling them, hey, say this and, you know, shift this way towards me, whatever. So that's going on, right? So everything's corrupt at the end of the day, right? But at the bottom line, at the end of the day, like I said, it's still the unknown that scares everybody. Like, your point, right? Like the lower paid players, they don't know if they're going to be doing this, you know?
Like
they're not getting...
Going back to your point, it's like the highest paid players, they have endorsements and all that. So people that have shoe deals or anything like that, you go buy their shoes, they're getting a certain cut from that shoe sale. So I think it's the lower end players that are barely making a minimum wage in the professional sport.
They're the ones who are definitely trying to weigh out their options, right? If I don't play, I don't get paid. And if I do play, I can get sick and then get injured, and then I'm super screwed, right? So,
and it could be people like that are wives are pregnant or that have little kids that are scared of getting their families with the COVID.
Or they know somebody's like super susceptible to the disease themselves, that they're trying to look out for them, right? It's just crazy time, man. It's a crazy time. So with that point, you know, we're living in a crazy time. What have you been doing, man, to try to stay sane? What are your hobbies during this time, right? Because I feel like that's a big thing that even now with like TikTok, right? Just a side note, TikTok's being banned apparently by the U.S. government. So all these people got super famous making TikTok videos. They're gonna have to go back to like normalcy, like to their own confines.
Well, they're only banning it if a U.S.-owned company doesn't buy it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they're doing
I think Twitter and like Microsoft are the two highest bidders to like buy it.
Yeah,
and because it's banned in India, it's like most popular in India, but because no one from India like purchased it, India banned it in the whole entire country. So the same thing is what they're trying to push here.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point.
My point what I was trying to make was that we're living in a time where you got to really be comfortable with yourself, because you're not able to go out as much. You're not able to do all these things. Social media, people are becoming like addicted to social media now, because if they don't have that, they have no other outlet like to communicate with people, and they're not comfortable in their own skin. So people are going crazy a lot of times, you know? So like to that, like what have you been trying to do to stay sane?
To answer your question, man, I'm too old for TikTok.
Don't lie. I saw you posted a video last week. You were doing the whole dance.
I don't even know what TikTok is, to tell you the truth. I know what Instagram is. I don't know what Facebook is. I don't have a Facebook account. I don't have anything. I just have an Instagram account. So yeah, TikTok, I've seen people that posted videos on the internet and all that, and don't get me wrong, I'm just not the creative mind to come up with a TikTok video.
Yeah.
I'll leave that to
I'm
the
not
young
that
folks.
pathetic to make a TikTok video, right?
To keep my insanity is pretty much my house being built and me being able to go mow my grass, my 5 acres. That's what keeps me insane. I mean, sane, I guess, not insane.
Exactly. It's crazy, like how much I think people are starting to realize now how much we take advantage of like the little small things, like how much physical work or like physical activity plays such a huge role in like spiritual and mental health, right? Like, I mean, before people were probably too busy. They had something going on. They were always on the go, going to work and then going to bars afterwards or doing something, right? But it's like times like this, the Foo Fighters, right? It's times like this you learn to... No, but it's really times like this where you learn to appreciate the small things, you know? It's something just as simple as going and cutting the yard. You know, I was talking to Ross about this before we came on, and we said it here. It's almost therapeutic. You know, you plug in, you get in the zone, you get some headphones in, you get your tunes going, and you're cutting your yard. You're getting a good sweat in, fresh air. And to me, sometimes that's as good as it gets, man. Yeah, honestly, yeah.
And now touching to your point, I guess, going back with the whole thing is like, I used to always complain about work. Mm-hmm. That's kept me sane was work before my accident. Yeah. I used to always, I'm not gonna lie, I used to always bitch and complain about work. And now that I'm out, I've been out of work for going on two years, 2 months already. I miss work a lot. Oh man, it's like I took that for granted.
Take my job?
Yeah, you want to take my job?
Well, let me clarify that.
Yeah,
I miss work, but I miss the friendships at work.
That's true.
I don't miss the politics at work.
Exactly.
Politics I hated, and that's what I bitch and moan about all the time. Is politics. Yeah. But the friendships, man, it's like you used to go to work and people would make your day go by easier just because they made you laugh for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So it's like now being at home for 24 hours, I guess, the only way I can keep my sanity is I'll leave the house because I can't even stay in the house for 2 hours before I'm like, dang, I got to do something. Yeah. Because I was just so active. I mean, I was so into sports. I played soccer. I played basketball. Played football. I wasn't great at football. Played baseball. I mean, now with the accident, it's like, ooh, what do I do? So the only thing I can do now is, okay, get on my tractor, just mow my grass, and now I'm on my project, which is my house.
Yeah.
So that kind of keeps me going and keeps my mind occupied from the whole thing. So
that's crazy.
That's pretty much how I keep sane, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I mean, and especially, I mean, because I feel like there's so many people who end up in dead end jobs, or not even dead end jobs, but jobs that they have no passion for, right? They're doing it more out of necessity or the fact that they have to do it. But from you, I always got the feel, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, don't put words in my mouth, but that you had like a real passion for what you did. I mean, obviously you went to U of H. For those who don't know, U of H, you did the mechanical engineering? Electrical engineering. Now you did electrical engineering, you got your degree in that, and then you went in the workforce. And man, just hearing you talk and hearing the way, I mean, I remember going to the shop like 4 years ago or something and going in there and you had like a whole car like separated. Like you were rebuilding a car. And in my mind, I'm like God damn, like, who has, I don't know anybody who has the actual like intellectual capacity to do something like that, you know?
Well, that's actually my brother's project car.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. But when you went, you were explaining it to me because my dad went with us. You know, my dad's all into that stuff too. And you're like, yeah, it's like, this is what this does and all that. And we left and my dad was like, damn, Bicos, because I envy them because they do stuff like that. They always take the initiative to like do stuff like that. And so no, especially for you, like missing work, as you were talking about, that you probably actually, like you said, the friendships you built there, but it's probably actually like the actual product you were doing, right? The way you were utilizing your mind and thinking. Not too many people can do that, man. And honestly, it goes without saying sometimes, or it's devalued, right? Because everybody can get a degree and everybody can get a degree in electrical engineering, but how many people actually know what they've learned or have like this sort of actual insight to the, real knowledge about it? And when you talk to you, you have it, like just hearing you. So you probably miss that a lot as well, right?
It does. I mean, I did miss a lot of that, putting what I learned in school.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it took me 6 years to get through college.
Oh man.
School wasn't for me. I was actually when I graduated from high school, I was actually debating on whether to go to college.
Oh man.
But luckily, but my tío Eddie got me a job where he was working at Petron. And I was on the floor. They were doing offshore drilling components.
Yeah.
And I was getting paid minimum wage. And I was like, luckily we showed up and one of my tío Eddie's friend was he was an engineer. I don't know if he was a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
He showed up in a nice car, man. I was like,
oh, really?
That like changed my mind. It's like,
incentive,
man,
huh? Yeah.
Could I make back then? I think it was like $7 minimum wage. Yeah. It's like I can't buy that car making this amount of money, and if I'm gonna want a house, there's no way in hell I'm gonna be able to afford all that. So I was like, man, I got to try something new. And luckily, my brother Saulito, he was already at U of H, and when I graduated, he was a sophomore actually at U of H. So he started telling me of he started showing me all the starting salaries for electrical engineers. I was like, man. That's what I need to get all this.
Yeah,
what
right.
I
His
want,
eyes
my
rolled
goals.
like the
yeah,
poker
it's like
the
dollar sign showed up, right?
exactly.
So I give credit to my brother Salito for being that role model of saying, you know what? And I'm not gonna say getting an electrical engineering degree, getting a degree period from college is gonna get you to where you want to be. Some people don't get a degree and they move up the chain really quick, and they get whatever they want. Mm-hmm. So, but they struggle a lot more than if you would have a degree. It's easier for you to go up the chain. Yeah. So I tell everybody, sacrifice those 4 years, push through it, get your degree, and your life is going to be a lot easier.
And I think, man, like, again, this isn't a ass kiss sesh, right? But I think, because we've talked about it on a few episodes too, and I think we talked about it, on the last one, if I'm not mistaken, about how kind of the Guzman family in general has like evolved from, when Grandpa came over here from Mexico, he was a welder and started from nothing, right? Just like a lot of other, families start from the very bottom. They work their way, and he kind of instilled that hard work and work ethic into his kids, right? And they've passed it along. But finishing high school back then was like the goal, right? Which I think most of his kids did. I know there was a few that didn't, but I think most of them, especially the ones that were little when they moved here, like my dad, Theo Hector, Theo Carlos, and them, they graduated high school. To them, that was like a big win, right? Because 10, 15, 20 years prior to that, that was like, fuck that. Grandpa, I think, went to third grade and dropped out, and he had to start working. So going back to that, our generation, which is the cousins, our parents, kids, Salito kind of paved the way in that aspect as far as the first Guzman to get his degree, right? And it's like what I was telling, Tito the last time he was on, you kind of saw that, one triggered it, and then it kind of like the dominoes fell, right?
It all went through.
Because you were the second one. And I think after that, especially now cousins that are younger than me, like that's a new trend, right? Like college, everyone's graduating from college.
It's almost, it goes without saying.
It's almost like back then, like graduating high school is what graduating college is in like now. I think we're probably at that toll where there's probably more degrees in the family as far as cousins go than there's not.
Right.
And I think it's awesome to see that, right? And then
it'll
take the next person to go get their master's or their doctorate, and then you'll see that cycle to where every damn kid in the family is going to be getting their doctorate in something. Yeah. So I think that evolution as far as education and just work ethic period is badass, man. And I know you and Salito were the two that like kind of started that trend. And when you look back, you can't say, oh, that had nothing to do with me. Right, it did have a lot to do with y'all because y'all set that example and y'all made that mold for what everybody else wanted to follow. And maybe as cousins, we didn't look at it like that's what I want to do. But from the brother standpoint, our parents' standpoint, they looked at it like, look what he's doing. Follow that path. Let him be a positive role model and do what he's doing, right? Because, have that work ethic. Obviously, I think a lot of us have it, but it's like, go get that. Go chase it. He did it. Go follow that example. And I think you've seen it, man. Like, because everybody's going to college and doing that thing. And I think it's awesome, man. It's beautiful to see that trend. And hopefully down the line when you have kids and they have kids, Guzman, it won't just be an Indian thing anymore. There'll be like Mexican doctors in the family everywhere, man,
Yeah, and it's like I would like to
ripping
see
off people and all that.
I would like to see now that what we did, somebody like you said, we got our bachelor's degrees. I would love for one of our cousins or their following cousins to get a master's degree, and then you never know, PhDs. Yeah, man. They'll be a doctor. Yeah, that'll be nice to see.
Yeah, awesome, right? It's like you said, dude. You touched on the word. It's evolution, bro. It's all evolving. Yeah. You start from the beginning, and you start from nothing really. And I'm sure if you could talk to Wilito Ruben right now, he would say, well, I worked off what my parents did for me, right? You always build and you try to progress, right? That's what evolution is, right? There's different factors that, push it, right? Survival or just, the incentive to do better, like Bicos said, like I saw. And then there was a part of it probably that was self-confidence too, that there was a part of you when you saw that guy drive up in the nice car that, hey man, he has a really nice car. I could have that too, right?
Yep.
Because I'm sure there's some people who who from starting from scratch, that they don't have that self-confidence in themselves, right? Like, oh man, that's something I'll never be able to have, right? And they'll just go back to, sweeping floors. Nothing wrong with that, like we said before, right? But I think there's that innate drive in us, and especially Mike said, the Guzmans, to aspire to more, right? So like Mike said, it's a beautiful thing, man. I can't tell you how many memories I have growing up where, on weekends, the Guzman family was always so close that you and Salito would come over to the house because you two and Michael and my dad and Theo Carlos, y'all were going to go play basketball at a park or something all the time. But there was a lot of times where my dad would hit you up and he'd be, hey, Theo, I'll let you know because I have an exam tomorrow. I got to study, and then we'd be like, and it'd be like a bum kill at first because it's like, oh man, well now we can't play basketball tonight.
Now we're short one person.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're short one person. Matthew, get in there. Get your scrawny ass in there. No. But my dad would always say, man, he was like at least for me, he was always, just calm. He would always tell us, like, man, you see how big, it's all about making sacrifice, I said he probably wanted to come and play, but he said he had to study, He's like, he wants to come, but he knows that you got to sacrifice sometimes and study hard. He goes, try to emulate that, and get it done.
A lot too goes, kudos, right, to our parents, not only just the Guzman side, but our mothers, right? Like, because it takes both to have that.
It's a balance for
It's
sure.
a balance,
Exactly.
right? Because you have one, and I know Guzman men are like hard asses and want to push. And then our moms, on the other hand, are kind of at like...
They reel you back sometimes from going over the edge,
That safety net.
They're that safety net. They're that shoulder that you can go really talk to, right? And I think it's a Hispanic thing, one, but then especially, at least for me, like my mom's the one that I can just really go talk to about stuff. And she ain't going to give me like backlash or nothing, right? Where my dad will overthink it and like give me advice. Like, damn, dude, like, I'm just trying to cry, dude.
Just hear me out.
Yeah, just hear me out.
It takes two, right? Because you can't have two hard asses, and you can't have two softies in the family. Because then, there's a lot of my friends, like their parents didn't give a shit about grades, dude. Like me, I'd be stressing out. I didn't give a shit about grades.
Yeah, obviously you did, bro.
But I still had that fear. I was just like a rebel, right? Like I knew I would get my ass healed, but I was just like, 6 weeks, it's enough. Let my ass heal, for another ass whooping. So I just didn't learn. I was kind of stubborn.
It's terrible. No,
but for whatever reason, like I didn't process it, right? But, my dad was a hard ass. My mom was kind of the safety net for us. And I think just in looking back, your parents have a lot to do because there's some parents, man, and nothing wrong with it, I guess. I'm thankful that my parents weren't like that, to where it's like, all right, man, you graduate high school, you figure on your own damn life out. I don't care what you do, how you do it, move the fuck out and do whatever. And they don't really give you that push, right? There's not that, because you have to have some type of like driving force also helping guide the way into what you want to do, right? Because if parents let a 16-year-old make up his mind, like, well, do whatever the fuck you want, this world will be much more fucked up than it is right now, honestly. So you have to have that like disciplinary guy that's pushing you and making you strive for better things. And I think most of us in the family have had that luxury of having a balance of both. So that's kudos to our parents as well.
Yeah.
Whether they did everything the right way to get us there, probably
not.
But it was because of them at the end of the day, because a lot of us could have been all fucked up right now, right? And
man, it's cool. It obviously it plays like a difference of cultures, right? Like this Hispanic Mexican culture that we grew up in, was definitely traditional, right? Super conservative, the culture we grew up to, and I think, in that culture, the parents are, like you said, the driving force. They're the ones, the father's the disciplinary guy, the mother's the loving and nurturing one, and they're trying to mold you, regardless if it's whipping your ass 1,000 times with a limb, which I've heard horror stories about you guys, man. Like, thankfully, I was a good kid, so I didn't have to go through that.
They never got spanked, bro. They never got spanked.
I got spanked, but, like, I hear, like, some of the stories, like, you and Salito say, man. And it's like, God, like, how are you guys not in therapy right now, man? Honestly.
Because, for the record, those that don't know, he's not only my cousin, but he's my god brother, right? So I think I spent more time up until I was, like, 16 at their house than my own damn house.
Yeah.
Because I was with them, especially in the summers, every weekend for sure. Like I already had my bag. Like
but,
I had
from the stories I've heard, though, you were kind
of
of whack, and you couldn't cut it with Salito and Bicos. Like Melanie,
yeah, no, Melanie was
you
like,
leaned on like Melanie's
I bucked
side,
her,
right?
so I was mainly with her. They were out doing like cool.
Melanie should have whipped his ass
like,
when he was younger too. Honestly,
but no, there was times, and I'll let Bicos talk to because that's the question for you. Is like just tell us about a few of those because I know there's too many to talk to tonight, but. Just a few of those fights, because I was there for one. I'm not talking about like little fucking.
I heard there's like a story
fights.
where you were like chasing Salito with like a shovel or a brake.
No, there was one where like Salito's bleeding from his fucking nose, dude. And Tia Araceli and rest in peace to your grandma, your mom's mom. She was there at the old house in the sala, and they're like, my tia and her mom were like trying to stop this fight from going on. And I just remember them having to wait outside the whole rest of the day and Tio Saul whooped their fucking ass, dude.
When he got home. That was the bad part. We got whooped by my mom and then we got whooped by my dad when he got home.
Were you
I was eating like a bowl of cereal looking at you through that sliding door.
He had his legs up. He was with Melanie. They were like just watching fucking
sucks to be there.
Yeah,
right?
sucks to be there, Melanie, right?
Nah, but going to some of those stories, man, if nobody knows me, man. Growing up, I was a problem child, man. I was the worst child anybody could have.
No, we didn't know.
No, we didn't know that.
Yeah, just talk to your dad. Talk to your parents. But yeah,
I feel like that's like every Guzman though.
No,
I
never cussed my doctors out.
I cussed my doctors out, cussed Theos out. I punched Theos and all that. I mean, I was bad, dude. You know what Chucky was? That's probably my nickname. That should have been my nickname.
We're gonna burn you
Chucky.
After this episode, bro. That's the only way. That's how they killed Chucky.
But I feel sorry for Salito because Salito got the worst of it with me because I was so competitive in sports all the time. Even to this day, I'm so fucking competitive. Yeah. We used to always play soccer. We used to always play basketball or whatnot. And if I lost, that was it. I was pissed.
Yeah. There was like a shovel right by the basketball goal, right? Salito's like taking his game-winning free throw and sees it, like airballs it, right?
So even with Chaito and Ephraim, they live close next door to us, so we would always play basketball.
That's why I would always want to play with them because shout out, I love them, but they weren't athletic for shit.
Oh man,
so that was an easy game, bro.
They were doing windmill alley-oops on there, right? Like goddamn.
But anyways, one day we were at Tia Hela's house.
Yeah,
family get together like we used to always do every freaking weekend. We
Friday,
were always
Saturday,
here.
And Sunday, twice on Sunday.
And I think we were playing kickball or something like that.
It's a story with Tio Eddie, right?
Tio Eddie, right?
Oh, man,
I remember. Sorry, Tio Eddie. If you're looking, Tio Eddie, sorry.
Yeah, I apologize.
I'm gonna have to bring this back up. But anyways, we were playing, and I think I got popped out, but I thought he dropped it, and it was an argument.
Yeah.
And I ended up cussing Tio Eddie out.
Yeah, I remember right then.
I think I told you
the game ended. The game ended, and we're losing because I was on y'all's team. And Tio Eddie was like, "That's it, man. Game over. We're done." And you were like, "Man, you are a bunch of pussies."
I think I said you's gay or this is gay or something like that.
Nah, hell no.
He was not that clean, right?
Anyways, I went to the swings and I was swinging by myself. I was so fucking pissed. I was swinging by myself. And then I guess he went to go tell my dad.
Tio Eddie.
Tio Eddie. I remember Tio Eddie like slapped you in the mouth.
He hit me in the face.
And that's when I ran away like a bitch.
Yeah, he went to Melanie, right?
So then I see my dad coming straight at me. I was like, "Oh, here we go."
Damn. Did your dad have like a look when you knew he was pissed off? Like all our dads have that look.
Well, every dad has a look.
Yeah, well, every dad.
I think my dad looked pissed every single time. So
okay, yeah.
You really once you saw his like eyebrows get connected. You were in trouble.
No, man, they have those killer eyes, bro.
So I remember he told me he got me from the swing. He got me from the hand. He got a branch from the
Your
tree.
dad?
Yeah.
In front of everybody?
Yeah, in front of everybody. Pulled the branch out and started whooping my behind.
Damn.
Man. I'm over here trying to jump.
Yeah, I know, right?
To get some of that impact off.
Exactly.
But he was smart. We would always wear shorts, and he would always go for the calf muscles.
Damn, that's like fucking.
And then afterwards, wouldn't it piss you off, bro? Because I don't know if it happened.
The Art of War. That's like in there. Then
but
like
afterwards, Tio Eddie comes up to you and like
says,
"Hey, mijo, like you just can't be saying stuff like that. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Like, bitch, I got my ass whooped, bro. You don't know how you can get your ass whooped by my dad, and then we'll be even.
Yeah, we'll be even.
Like, don't come on mijo this. Like, I got my ass. Look at this.
Yeah, I got scars.
Yeah.
But going back to your story, that was another story when I was actually chasing my brother with a shovel.
God.
We're playing basketball
for not having, like, being dead at this point.
That was like 300, dude.
I was glad. I'm
the
actually,
movie?
Hell yeah.
I'm actually glad he was a lot faster than me. Because if not, I think I would have been in jail.
You would
have
been in prison right now.
But Salito was a little instigator, bro. Because I remember a lot of times,
shots fired.
You would be chasing him, and he would be laughing his ass off. Bro.
That's what pissed me off.
I would be so scared
because I couldn't catch him.
Yeah, I empathize with Salito a little bit because I kind of had, not to that degree, but that relationship with Jonathan, right? Because Jonathan, from what I'm hearing from you, you had a very fiery attitude, right? It doesn't take much to get under their skin, and when you get under your skin, nobody stopping them, right? It's game over, end of the world, pretty much.
Run for your life.
Yeah, exactly. And Jonathan has that a lot, but being the older brother, it's like an insult to the older brother mentality prior, right? Like, damn, I got to cater to my little brother because if he gets mad, he's going to try to whip my ass, right?
Or try to kill me.
So it's like, I got to be responsible and, like, be the older brother, respectful and all that. But also I want to be a little biatch and let him do whatever he wants to be, right? So I think that's where all the laughing and instigating came up, right? We had to compensate for it a little bit. So
yeah,
I'm Team Salito on that one, Bicos. Sorry about that.
We were playing basketball and he beat me and he was laughing at me. I was like,
Yeah. Okay, that's a little different, right?
I told him, okay, I'll be back. I went to had a little shack. We had a little shack that had all the shovels and all our...
The one behind your house, right?
I opened that thing, and once he saw me open it, he started just getting his distance.
Yeah, pushing back.
Come out with the damn shovel.
God damn.
I started chasing him around. My parents owned a small little acre lot, and then they bought another acre next to them.
Yeah.
So it was 2 acres at the end of the day. So I started chasing them around the pear tree. We had a pear tree right in the middle. Started chasing him. My mom's like, mijo, don't stop.
Yeah. Was your mom the only one that could kind of like reel you back?
Yeah, well, because
it never worked.
Because my dad was never there. My dad was always traveling.
Yeah,
he was always field service work, so he was making the money.
Yeah, making the bank.
And my mom raised us the way we are now. So I remember I was chasing them. My mom was like, "Mijo, stop!" And my grandma, my mother Emma, was like, "Mijo, ya párale, ya párale."
Yeah.
So luckily, Saito was always faster than me, and
luckily for him, right?
He was always running around, and he knew how to run around the house. And I was a fat, chubby kid, so I used to always get tired quick. Then I used to drop the shovel and then go back inside.
Yeah.
But by that time, my mom was already waiting for me inside with the
shovel, another shovel, right? Her shovel, right?
with the belt.
Yeah.
And then what sucked is my mom used to hit us with the belt. And then I would be, okay, I was on my Sega Saturn or Sega Genesis, whatever I had, I was playing.
It's a badass game. We'd all flock to that every party.
My dad shows up, and my mom used to always tell him, hey, this is what happened.
Damn.
And the one thing I always hated about my dad, well, I don't hate it, but I disliked. Hate's a bad word. I disliked is he would always send us to go get the belt for him.
Yeah, I hate that too, right?
So
that's like torture, man. That's like
go
capital
get
punishment shit right
the
there.
Skinniest belt there was in the world. And he's like, nah, not that one. He had one from Mexico. I don't know, the ones that are made out of
fucking like alligator leather, leather and all that. Damn.
And he used to wet
like spikes on it and all that. Like, why
used
would
to
anybody
wet
want
that thing.
Yeah.
And I remember that day I was like, okay, I'm gonna, because I hate to say it, but Saito used to always get it with me. Even though he was always on the right,
get in trouble too,
he would get in trouble too. Yeah. That's the eldest one used to always get it bad. So my dad used to always show up and be like, okay, who do I spank first? And I used to always say Salito first. So Saito, he was like, okay. Saito's like, okay, I'll get it over with quick. He's first one. I used to always run to my room. We always had the Britannica encyclopedia.
Yeah.
I remember that day I had pants on. Pulled my pants down, started stuffing my ass with books.
The only time they were used ever.
Every time. That's what Britannicas were used. Right? Never read.
Honestly,
never read.
Not to cut you off, it's cutting you off, but you had them, and at Abuelita Enriqueta's house, there's all of them, A through Z. Like, who the fuck ordered those?
Abuelita Ruben, man. I would say that like people who go sell them.
Why the fuck did they have them?
My mom used to buy them because they were on sale all the time.
Rest in peace. You don't speak and read English. Why are you buying books?
Like, why do y'all have this shit?
Too far, man. Too far.
So I went to go stuff books in my pants, and I come out walking like the Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the Michelin tire guy, right?
So my dad caught onto it, and he was like, pull down your pants. So I pulled them down, the books fall.
Damn.
So I was like, okay, I was wearing pants. I was like, he cannot get me over here. Yeah. I was like, he's going to let me pull. I started pulling my pants up. He's like, nah, leave them down like that.
Leave them down like that, right?
Boom. He started getting me like all where the pants were down here.
Yeah,
they knew where exactly to hit
precision,
you.
Right? Yeah.
So it was like, I mean, I used to always just jump, like, And luckily, my sister was a demon child too. But she never got
I thought you were gonna have like a heroic story, like she came and told my dad, "No, that's enough. That's enough."
My sister never got spanked.
Dad, he also did this, right?
She would just close the door, like, damn, because you're loud. You're screaming so loud.
Slamming the doors. Right? Shut up over there, Bicos.
My sister's trick was always cry before my dad showed up to the room.
I'll ask Melanie if she ever comes on the podcast. Did your dad ever spank Melanie?
Hell no.
Oh, okay, good. It's the same way with Mandy. I think Mandy got spanked once.
Speaking of Melanie and Demon Child, dude, I remember
that's what triggered something in your mind.
Like before, like I became a bad student. Like I used to do.
There was no before, bro. There was never a before.
In sixth grade, when I went to Lake Olympia in 6th grade, Melanie was in 8th grade. So she was already like a fuck up student, right?
Yeah,
she was hanging out with the bad crowd.
She was running the Chola gang at Lake.
Yeah, she was like a straight Chola. She started that whole like movement
always.
And I was still like a decent student, like getting passing grades.
With the wet hair, like and it's all on her white shirt.
And I remember all our mail would go, and our progress reports went. And hers went, and it was like bad. Your soul saw it. He was all fucking disappointed in her and shit. Didn't spank her, but was like, "Oh, this is shit." And she started. She got a
bad report card.
And then I got mine and was like all happy. And she came and like ripped that bitch, bro. Like what the fuck?
Be happy for your cousin.
Like, goddamn, this is my last semester of having good grades. And after
she sold your ass out to like the gang that ran Laco, right? Like that dude, bitch.
She was like, my little bitch ass cousin, whoop his ass on that day.
His motherfucking ass.
Whoop his ass.
And they did. And it crossed you over to the dark side. You became a bad student after that.
And that's when I was like, you know what? Getting good grades ain't worth it.
It ain't worth it, man. Nellie's gonna sell myself out, man. Yeah. And then Melanie goes on to graduate college too and sells out everything, right?
She's like, no, Michael, you need your education.
You need your education. It's very important.
What?
You know? What the fuck? What?
Who whooped your ass? Nobody.
Who whooped your ass? Nah, that's funny.
So going on through that, right? So I think now is the drum roll key. So we relive all these good memories, and not that the ones that you have now are not good, but obviously you talked about some of your childhood, and then some of your biggest things were like sports and always being active, right? So about little over 2 years ago?
2 years.
You had like a literal like
as
life.
Close to a near-death experience.
You probably did die for a while.
I think
so you for sure are the closest person that I know personally that has experienced or gotten close to experiencing death with an accident that you had, right? And I think not only did it change your life, and I don't want to like step and steal your thunder, but it changed, at least for me, and I know my family here at home, my parents, my brothers, it was a life-changing experience for us to a certain level as well. Because you hear freak accidents happening all the time and shit like that, and you hear it on the news and you're like, damn man, like, but it doesn't really sit with you. It doesn't hit home, right? It's kind of like, damn man, like, that's kind of like science fiction type shit, right? But then when you get that call and that whole process is playing out, and for someone that you love, someone that you see, that's your family, that you're really close to, it kind of changes your perspective on a lot of different things, man. And it almost, at least for me, it changes, especially right after that, like my day-to-day, just the way I approach life in general. And not to be cheesy and stuff, but that's really how I feel. But you had an experience that you went through, and I just kind of want to open the floor, and for however you want to talk about it, and just kind of tell your story, because you're going to tell it better than me or Matthew can. So, you know.
Yeah, well, it was March 18th, 2018. It was crazy because that day was the same day that the Santa Fe shootings.
It was a Friday.
Yeah, it was a Friday. The Santa Fe shootings happened.
Shooting, yeah, it was May, right? Yeah, I remember
May 18th, 2018.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, we're filming in front of a live studio audience tonight. So anyway, just as a joke, we are being viewed by some people, but it's all good. Thanks, fact checker.
Fact checker number 2.
What did I say?
So she's being credited at the end of the podcast. Fact checker number 2.
May 18th.
May 18th.
2018.
So I know it was a Friday. I had just gotten home from work, and we got home, and you see in the news about the school shooting and all that.
Which was crazy because I think that Wednesday we had gone because we were going to play basketball in a league.
Yeah, no, we were starting the summer league that
Wednesday.
Summer.
We went to go practice or get used to us playing together in basketball.
Was it that Wednesday?
Yeah, I think it was that Wednesday.
It was 2 days before. We canceled or something, right? Something happened that we didn't.
We were going to go to your university,
but we played. Yeah, no, but we played the week before.
Was it the week before?
We played. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, we went on the Heights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then we were going to play again on Wednesday, but you said you couldn't go because you had stuff going on. And I don't think we went.
We didn't even go. We canceled it.
We didn't even go. We just canceled it for the week and said we'll pick back up the week after because the season was about to start.
That Sunday, I think.
Yeah, that Sunday it started. Yeah.
Because I remember
like the week after it started.
Yeah,
really soon.
I remember the day before I had gone and bought me some shoes, some basketball shorts and everything.
Yeah.
But anyways, that Friday, I was on a 4-10 schedule. I only worked 4 days a week, 10-hour days.
Damn.
And that day, I had to work overtime. So I went to work half a day. I got home, and I remember getting home, and I used to sit on the same section of the couch, turn on the TV, and the Santa Fe shootings were going on. I was like, another terrible day in America, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
So that day, my dad comes home from work, and they have a rent house. Where
the old school house,
yeah, our old school where we grew up at, and they were having problems with the water well system. So I remember my dad says, "Well, I'm gonna go try to fix it." And during that time, I used to always go. My dad built a shop where we were trying to start our own business, and I had another little room next door, and I used to always go lift weights.
Yeah, the weight system you had there in the corner, right?
Yeah. So that day, I was like, "Okay, I'll get home, rest a little bit." And then I'll go lift weights because that's my stress reliever, was lifting weights.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I showed up and my dad was on that little shack. They had the water well system next to it. And he was on the roof cutting a little square where he was going to take it's a 240-foot pipe that's dug underground. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's good.
To get water to feed into the house.
Serves like as a pump or something,
yeah,
right?
It's an underground pump.
Yeah.
So we were going to try to get it out and... usually we used to get it out, clean it out because it was full of mud and it used to clog it up. And
so you guys had done that before?
Yeah, we were growing up. Me and my brother and my dad used to always pull it out every single time.
Yeah. Okay.
That day, it used to be always 3 of us, but that day it was only me and my dad, just me and my dad. So I remember he cut the hole out and we started pulling the pipe out, and we were both inside the little shack trying to get it through the roof. And then I started thinking, I was like, man, once we get it through the roof, it's going to want to sway one way or sway another way.
Yeah.
So I remember telling my dad, hey, Dad, go to the roof and you guide it up and make sure it just doesn't hit the power lines. So the power lines were to the right of us. So sure enough, he did. He got on the ladder, got up on top of the roof, and we started pulling. And I kid you not, man. We got close to the end. I remember I kept on seeing water coming out of the hole where the pump was at,
which was a sign that
so that was a sign that we were kind of close. Mm-hmm. And I remember we had a platform where the pump was at, and I put my 2 feet on the platform. And I remember I told my dad, I was like, look, when we do the last pull it towards the house and not towards the power lines to make sure it doesn't hit the power lines.
So that was something that was already in your mind.
It was in my mind.
Knew that already.
Yeah. So I remember when I did my last pull, I grabbed the pipe. The pipe was right here, or it may have been on this side. I grabbed the pipe, and then once I pulled up, I felt my right foot slip. And when it slipped, it was in a puddle of water. So I don't know, when we pulled it up, I guess the wind was blowing that day that it swayed it towards the power lines. And I remember it hit the power lines, and all I felt and I heard. I really heard more than anything. I don't know, you're probably too young for this, but back when we first got the internet, there was an AOL server where you connected to, and it was just a buzzing sound when you connected to. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
They used to So I remember I just heard that, and I remember trying to get myself away from the pipe, detach myself away from the pipe, but the electricity was so much that
so
it contracted.
It was already getting you.
Yeah,
here
it was
at this
already
point,
hit
right?
it.
Yeah.
So
already had hit the
that
power line.
First point, like you knew what the fuck was happening.
Yeah, I did, and I remember that when I got stuck, the electricity contracted all my muscles that I couldn't sway away from it.
Which is what.
So I remember thinking, I thought to myself, was like, okay, this is it. And I felt that buzzing, that AOL sound for like, it seemed like for 5 minutes, but I think it was probably quicker than that. And then all of a sudden I went to a dark, dark place, man. And it was so dark that I looked up, I looked down, I looked to the left, I looked to the right, and I looked straight, and there was nothing. It was just dark.
Like pitch black area.
Pitch black. I couldn't see anything. I didn't know where to go. So something told me to look back, and I looked back, and it was pitch black. And when I turned straight forward, it's just like the movies, man. You see a little light, little light, bright light. So I remember in the movies that everybody walked towards the light, right?
Yeah.
So I was walking towards the light. The little light got bigger and bigger. So I think I took my first 20 steps, and then I saw a shadow next to the light, and I can see their hands just waving me, like, come this way. So I was like, okay.
And at this point, I mean, not to cut you off, were you scared? Were you at peace?
I was terrified.
You were terrified
because I didn't know where I was going. Yeah. And I saw the shadow telling me come this way. So I was like, and it was just a shadow. So that's what terrified me even more. I didn't know who it was. So I was like, okay, you know what? They're waving me over there. I'll just keep walking. I kept on walking, and I was finally took another, I think, 10 steps, and I was finally able to distinguish who the shadow was. It was Abuelito Guzman that passed away from cancer in 94, I think, or 95, one of the two.
A couple of months after I was born, 95.
So that gave me a peace of mind. It relaxed me a little bit because I knew who that person was. So I kept on walking towards him, and I saw another shadow next to him, waving me the same way, waving me with the hands. I just couldn't distinguish who it was, but I knew who Abuelito was, so I was going to keep walking towards Abuelito. So I took another 5 to 10 steps and finally able to distinguish who that second shadow was, and it was my tia Liz that passed away from breast cancer.
Chaito Ephraim's mom.
Ephraim's mom back in 96. I believe it was 96.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I know who the two people are, so I'll keep walking towards them. By that time, when I was continuing walking to them, the light got bigger and bigger to where I was able to see. I was still whole. I had both of my hands, both of my legs, and I didn't feel any pain. It was like peace. It was like
so at
peaceful.
This point, you went from like a state of like actual like terror, like being terrified to
being in peace.
Right?
Yeah, it's like it was a peaceful walk.
Yeah,
nothing bothered me or anything like that.
And it's still dark, and you're moving towards the
light and the shadows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or to now my abuelito and my tia Liz. So I kept on walking, and I saw another shadow pop up next to him, a third shadow. And I kept on walking, and the light got bigger, and I was finally able to see who that third shadow was, and it was my grandma, my mom's mom, that passed away in 2014. Yeah, 2014. So I was like, it kind of gave me a peace of mind that they were going to take me to the place where I needed to go to.
You're seeing more people who you trusted in you. And,
So I kept on walking and walking. The light got bigger. And I remember seeing a fourth shadow, but I couldn't distinguish who that fourth shadow was. When I guess the paramedics showed up. And I remember, I guess they brought me back to life. They were giving me CPR or whatnot. And when I got probably like 10 steps, probably from here where Michael's at, from Abuelito Guzman. And I remember he was reaching out for me. And I reached out towards him. And I wanted to touch him because I knew he was going to take me where I needed to go. So by that time, I guess the paramedics did CPR and resuscitated me. I remember when I got close to him, I remember taking a deep breath and I was able to hear everybody that was around me. I heard Esmeralda, Ephraim was there, and all our neighbors that were growing up. The areas were all around me. I don't know if they were around me, but I was able to hear them. Yeah. So that's when I knew, okay, I'm back to earth, back to life. Yeah. But I couldn't see. I just saw black. I still saw dark again. So my first thought was, okay, I made it, but I'm going to be blind for the rest of my life. Oh, man. And I was like, I don't want to be blind for the rest of my life. Yeah. So I remember I was always getting feisty because that day it was hot. It was really hot, and the electricity cooked me. It pretty much fried me. Exactly. Yeah. So I remember asking the paramedics, I was like, I just want water. I want water. They're like, we can't give you water because you just got electrocuted. Yeah. I was like, but I just want water. And I think I even got back to my old days, and I told them I just want fucking water. Yeah. And they're like, we can't give you water, Mr. Guzman. Just sit here and relax. And I remember I kept on trying to get up. By that time, they put me on the stretcher, and I guess from the pain, I blanked out again. I passed out. And
at this point, they probably took you and they airlifted you back to the med center.
So they had to close down all of Highway 6. Highway 6. And they brought the life flight, the helicopter. They brought it down on Highway 6. And they put me on the stretcher, put me on the ambulance, and carried me from the ambulance to the helicopter. Took me out the stretcher, put me on the helicopter. And the only thing I could remember was actually when the helicopter was landing at Memorial Hermann Hospital in the medical center. I remember them telling us, I woke up and I remember hearing the doctor saying, hurry, this is a hurry case. It's a rush case. So I remember they were running with the stretcher, and by that time the pain hit me again and I just passed out again.
So in all that time that you're doing that, you're feeling actual pain, right? You're in agony. You're feeling things.
I really didn't feel the pain, but I think just because of the pain, I passed out. And
you knew somewhat what the situation was as well.
I knew I was electrocuted.
Yeah, you knew it was bad, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Okay. So I get to the hospital, and the first thing they have to do is amputate my right leg because it was in the puddle of water, and it cooked it. My brother said it was like fried. It was like when you cook a barbecue, when you burn your barbecue, that's pretty much what it was.
And they asked you for this in the hospital, or they were going, like, they were deferring to Salito and your parents and Melanie's discretion?
Well, that's what's crazy about the situation is my brother says that I was awake when they came and told me that the only way I would be able to stay alive is they had to amputate my leg. Oh. And Saito says that I agreed to it, but I don't remember. So that's the first thing they did is amputate my leg, and then after that I was in, you name it, man, all the tubes that can go into your system. Yeah, I had it in me. Exactly. I had a breathing tube. I had nose. They had to feed me through the mouth, through the nose. And I remember I used to get frustrated because my sister and my brother used to always go to the hospital to take care of me, and we had to come up with I don't know who invented it. I think it's my sister. She invented she wrote the alphabet down on a piece of paper. So I would always communicate to make sentences.
Love will make you do. And it's absolutely necessary, bro.
I used to always just try to take my tube out because my hands weren't working. Cool. I used to always try to take my tube out with my mouth, my teeth. And the nurse caught me one time. She's like, "You can't do that." So that's the way I communicated probably for the first, I think I had the tube in for like the first 3 weeks of my hospital stay. And they had to feed me through the nose probably for,
what was it,
4 to 5 weeks, maybe?
Man, 4 to 5 weeks doing that?
Yeah. And all you can smell was like, they used to feed me like strawberry liquid, and it smelled like quick strawberry. Yeah. I couldn't even taste it. I just smelled it. Yeah. So it would go through my systems. Yeah. And I kid you not, I want to say in the 2 months and a week that I was in the hospital, I think I went through 14 surgeries maybe. So it was like, I would get out of surgery, they would let me recuperate, and then the next morning it was another surgery. Yeah. And if you know, I mean, you can see I have all these scars here. I was connected to, they call them wound vacs. So what it did is that every time they cleaned the system out, they would put it was like a vacuum, and it'll clean out all the dead cells, the burnt meat that was inside. It'll suck it out, and I guess it would pump in new
good regenerative cells or something,
whatever
right?
it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty much my whole stay from March 18th to July 9th, I believe.
And I mean, you remember a lot of that like thoroughly, or were they? I mean, I'd assume
from the
they were sedating you a lot, though, right?
Yeah, the first 3 weeks I don't remember much, because I remember when they would show up and I'd have to communicate through that board. But after that, they would sedate me, so I would go back to sleep.
Yeah.
There was times where, and the sucky part about it is that they wouldn't allow any family member to stay with me during the night. So they were only there for visiting hours, which was 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night.
They couldn't even stay, because I remember when we would go, they had like that big ass conference room that we kind of zoned out. They were just staying there, right? Yeah, I remember they were at pillows, sheets, the whole 9 yards.
They couldn't stay in the room though.
Okay.
So I remember the first, what was it, 7 weeks? No, it must have been 6 weeks. I was in that room in the burns unit because I had so many burns in my skin that they put me in the burns unit. And
they were doing like skin grafts.
Right. So from here on this scar here, they had to do a muscle flap because the meat burned completely through there, and it was just none but bone exposed in this part. So what they did is they got a muscle from here and flapped it over to this side, and then they had to get a piece of skin from is this the thigh muscle?
Quad, your quad or something, right?
Quad.
The quad.
And they had to put it over here to cover up that meat, the muscle that they had flapped over there. So it was like, I mean,
and this is that they had to do this, right? For
they had to do it, right?
Yeah.
And my hand's still not 100% functional. It's probably like 60%. And this one is a hook or a hand or whatever. I have a electric prosthetic in my leg. But yeah, it's like the first 6 months I had to, from 10 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the morning, I was by myself in the room. That was the hardest nights in the world.
You were just like in a state of like despair, like lonely, or
you were by yourself in the room.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just a huge shock to just everything, right? I mean, one night you're in your bed going to sleep, and then the next night you're in this hospital you've never been in, all these tubes connected. I mean, rightfully so that you're just...
So the easiest...
Uncomfortable is the least like word you could use to describe that.
Yeah, the easiest 2 weeks I think were my last 2 weeks when they were able to allow my brother and my sister stay with me.
Overnight.
Yeah, overnight. They were able to stay with me. But it was like I would see them, they would get up. They were still working at this time. So they would get up, take a shower in my restroom, get ready for work, and they're off to work. And then my sister would stay with me during the day. So they were on a rotation pretty much.
Yeah.
So my sister would stay with me one day, then my brother stayed with me the other day, and then my sister, and then my brother, and then they would just rotate like that. So that's what made it kind of hard for me. It's like all the sacrifices they went through. It's
you're seeing the change in their lives as well, right? Yeah.
And then them being away from their families, it's like, man, it's like it was a big sacrifice they did for me.
But I think what gets you through a situation like that, and even if you didn't know it at the time, I'm sure what was going in your mind was like, I'm sure your sisters and your brothers would know that you would do that in a heartbeat for them, right? So, because a lot of times we go through, not to change the subject really quick, but, personal issues of our own, you're like, you see the struggles that it's affecting those who are close to you. But what's kind of comforting, at least for me, is knowing that I would be right there for them as well. So I'm sure what made you feel better a little bit was that you would do the same, if not 10 times more for your sister, for your brother, right?
Right.
It's a testament to your guys' love that you guys have for each other.
I mean, going into that Friday, right? I'm not saying that, obviously for me to say that I went through something that day adds no value to what you and your family went through. When I say your family, meaning your brother, your siblings, your parents, right? Because it's one thing for me to get a call. Again, not saying that it didn't hit home, because I just told you it did. But it's different when it hits closer to home. And had I gotten that call for like Matthew or Jonathan, right? it's different when it's your immediate family, bro. And so I can't even imagine what they went through. And you know, for me to get that call was kind of like, what the fuck? Like, it wasn't real. And then, you know, because still Carlos and Chaito both called me. They were blowing my phone up that Friday. It was like 3 o'clock, I think. I had just gotten home from work, 3:30 ish. And I was like, man,
I don't want to hang out.
They probably want to come over. Like, I ain't trying to have that, you know. So I was ignoring their calls. And they kept blowing my phone up. And finally I answered, and it was Chaito. And he's like, kind of in a panic, right?
He was all perplexed.
Man, and he was like, hey, dude, you know. And the first thing he tells me is that we need to be there for Tio Saul's family. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, they're going through a hard time. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, Bicos was in an accident. So I'm thinking, first thing is like, you got in a car accident, right? He's like, they're life flighting him. I was like, what the fuck? Like, where? And he's like, they're on Highway 6. And it just really wasn't making sense. And he didn't really know the full details, right? So he's like, they're taking him to Memorial Herman. So then he hung up because I guess he was going home. And, well, because Esmeralda and her dad were like the first ones at the scene, right, for you. And then Tio Carlos, I called Tio Carlos, and he's like, hey, dude, you know, Bicos was in an accident. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what kind of accident? So he tells me, he's like, I'm on my way to the hospital now. Like, I think you should get there. And I was like, yeah, we'll leave. So my mom was here staying with me.
I was with you, yeah. I was
and y'all were both. And I said, hey, y'all just stay with the kids. Me and Anna are going to go, like, see what's going on. And even when I was driving there, it sucks because PJ texted me, your cousin. And that's kind of when I was like, shit, it must be serious. Because even on the drive, I was like, he's going to be all right. Like he's probably like broken arm or something, you know? Like, I didn't really know what the fuck was going on.
When we first got it was like an electrocution. The first thing we thought was, oh, they were messing with the breaker or something. For me, it's like, he's going to the hospital. You know, he's good, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't think. Then I'm getting close to the medical center, and your cousin PJ texts me, dude, what the fuck? I just heard about Bicos. Is he okay? How's the family? So then I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I never talked to PJ unless he's like painting my car or something, you know? But he texts me, and he's cool. He's cool and everything. And I was like, damn, like, what the fuck? So then I'm like, shit, I guess it's serious. So we get there, and we go to the emergency, and right away I run into Theo Greg, and he's like crying his ass off, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I must have not gotten all the information or something, you know? So we get to the waiting room, and I see Theo Greg was with me, because we walked in at the same time, and we see Theo Eddie and Theo Carlos are there, and I just hear Melanie crying. They had like a little, like personal room, I guess, and she was in there. And I just hear her crying her ass off. So then I'm like, and Ross was on the outside too. So then I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like, this cannot be good. So I'm thinking the worst. Like, did he pass away? Like, what the fuck, you know? And Tio Carlos is like, you want to see your Tio Saul? And I was like, Tio Saul? And he was like, yeah, he was in the accident too. So I'm like, not really. I hate seeing shit like that, bro. Yeah. Honestly. I hate going to funerals. I hate seeing people hurt and sick. Like, I don't like seeing it, dude. Like, I'm weak for that, right? Not because like gruesome, just. So what do you say?
Cry. Like,
yeah, you don't know.
There's no like.
What do you say?
I know what you're going through. Yeah. Sorry for your loss. And you're like, nah, that doesn't mean nothing, you know. So I just hate it. And when I went in, your dad was okay. He was conscious and everything, and his ankles were really fucked up.
Burnt.
And but he felt bad for you, dude, and he was crying and stuff. And I remember giving him a big ass hug, and you know, he felt really guilty about whatever was going on because he was telling us the story. So that's when I'm like, shit, dude, like, I didn't know it was that serious.
So then your attention turned.
So then my attention was like, all right, Theo, you're cool. Where the fuck is Bicos at, right? And the one I got to give kudos to the most, not taking anything away from your mom or Melanie, because they were their strongest and their weakest moment. Salito was a straight up G the whole time, bro.
He was cool and calm.
And he was calmer than me, and that's your brother, dude. Your one and only brother. He was the one like feeding the family information. I never saw him cry. I'm sure he wanted to. I'm sure he wanted to die probably. And he was strong for the whole damn family, bro. And the part that got me the most was later that night. And just picture, and this picturing doesn't do it justice, but the whole goddamn Guzman family was in that waiting room, bro. Beto was there. The whole family was there, bro. People that don't typically come around, like Alan, they were all there. Everybody was there. And I remember it got late, and your brother comes up and goes straight to your mom and tells her that they're going to have to probably amputate all of your limbs.
Yeah.
And your mom just falls to her knees and just starts crying, bro. And for me, I helped your mom up, and then I walked right the fuck off, and I called my mom, crying my ass off, dude. And I was like, what the fuck? Honestly. Like, then it hit me like, how does this shit happen? Shit like this isn't supposed to happen. Not to us.
Right.
So you start going through that, and like I said, so I went through that, me personally, and I can just imagine what your immediate family went through. And I went, I think, for like 2 or 3 weeks straight, bro. I was there every day, and they were there. Fucking by the time I got there and by the time I left, your family was there. And just, when I started this topic off, because I wanted you to talk about your accident, it really changed my perception of the way I view things. Because a lot of times, man, people can say, oh, it's cheesy, whatever. I don't care what people think. Sometimes we do, not sometimes, we always take things for granted in this world, bro. And it's the smallest thing sometimes, like when I get on my kid's ass because I'm frustrated, not because they're acting bad, just because I'm in a frustrated mood, that the day of tomorrow, something like that happened, I'm going to regret that 100%.
Or you're going to feel more guilty.
More guilty, bro. Guilt. Just hating myself for being that way. And am I perfect? No. I'm not saying that your accident made me perfect, but I try at least to catch myself
to improve
when I'm in and improve myself, man. And honestly, it's helped me do that to a whole nother level. And just you were an inspiration for me. And I don't forget we were going to Mexico on vacation. And the day before we left, I went to visit you at the hospital. And I told you, hey, man, we're leaving, but I'm proud of you. Not that you need my respect or anything, but the way you handled the situation, dude, my hat's off to you, man. My hat's off to your entire family for handling it that way. And when I told you that day that me, my wife, my kids, you're an inspiration to us, man, from the bottom of my heart, I truly meant that.
Thanks, man. And I really don't know how to thank you guys for all the prayers and support you gave. Not even me, my brothers, my sisters, my mom, my dad. All that made me get through the situation I was going through. I'm going to tell you this story, and I'm probably going to cry.
Let it out, man.
Once I got out of the hospital, I went to go stay at my Ross and Melanie's house. I couldn't go back home. I stayed there for, I think, was it 2 to 3 weeks, right?
2 weeks. Fact checker number 2.
I went for 2 weeks, and I was like, you know what? I got to go home. I have to go home. I remember when we were pulling up to the driveway, I was still in my wheelchair. I was like, you know what? The last time I walked in this house I was walking. I was both my legs. I kid you not, I cried for 2 days straight. Crying. I was like, this is not me. I stayed there for 2 weeks, and then one day my mom was taking me a shower. I told my mom, no, I don't want to live no more. I'm done. She started crying. She called my brother Salito. She's like, you know what? Bicos said he's done. He doesn't want to live no more. He showed up to the house. I remember I used to always go to my mom's closet because it was always dark. I wanted to be in a dark place. So I walked in, opened the door. I remember I was just laying there.
And I was just reminiscing of the whole accident of when I saw Grandpa, Alice, and my grandma. On how peaceful it was. My brother gets there, he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" You know what? I don't want to live no more. I don't want to live like this. It's like, you want to die? You want to commit suicide? So I was like, yeah, I don't want to live no more. It's like, all right, we can go to Europe. They have hostels over there that they can kill you. But before you do that, you have to look at each of the family member that was there the day of your accident and tell them thank you for your support, but I'm calling it quits. I don't want to die. I don't want to live no more. When he told me that, he's like, but you have to start with my mom. I was like, you know what? There's no way in hell I can look at my mom after all they went through. There's no way in hell I can look at my mom and say, you know what? I'm going to die. That right there changed my life 360 degrees. I was like, you know what? I'm still alive. I'm thankful that I'm still alive. And I kid you not, maybe I think it was 3 months after I got released from the hospital, there was a conference for amputees. I remember my sister, my Ross and Salito all went with me that day, where they had to alternate because there were only 2 passes. And then when I showed up to the conference, I was still in my wheelchair. The first day I was on my wheelchair, and I already had got my prosthetic leg. But they're telling me you can't use your prosthetic leg until you go through therapy to make sure you can keep your balance and you won't fall and all this jazz, right? Yeah. So I get to the conference. Long story short, I meet some amputees that are missing their limbs from up here. All 4 of them, their legs. And they were just in an electric wheelchair. Or somebody was pushing them behind. And I was like, you know what? I'm bitching and complaining about missing part of my leg and just my hand. And they're missing all their limbs. And you saw them happy. They were not crying. They weren't bitching and moaning about their life the way their life was right now. I was like, that made me more of a I guess I'll just use the word of an idiot to think that my life was over just because I'm missing my hand and my right leg. I was like, they're missing 4 of their limbs. That's totally life changing. They can't drive their car. They can't go anywhere without somebody pushing them from behind. So I was like, you know what? Life is not over. So the second day we went back, it was a 3-day conference or 4-day conference. 3 or 4 days, I think. And
fact checker, we see you.
I remember I had my prosthetic leg, and I told my sister, you know what? Put my prosthetic leg. I'm gonna walk in there with my prosthetic leg. And the people that told me that I couldn't wear my prosthetic leg was my prosthetic doctor and my therapist. And I remember when we walked in, I was trying to avoid them because I didn't want them to see me with my prosthetic leg and then get me in trouble. So sure enough, we walked in. They caught me. They're like, you know what? You shouldn't be wearing your prosthetic leg yet because you can't keep your balance.
You were trying to like cover it up with like your pant or something? Or?
I was wearing pants, but they already knew I was an amputee.
Yeah, they caught you.
So they came and told me you shouldn't be walking with your prosthetic leg because I think by that time I was only 1 week into therapy, I think.
From having received the prosthetic.
From my prosthetic. So they didn't want me to actually fall and hurt myself even more. So they were like, be on your wheelchair. So they had a place in the back where you can see all the prosthetic makers. You can see what they had as far as prosthetic hands, prosthetic hooks, legs. Like
the vendors of it and all
vendors, pretty much. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I remember walking over there, and my therapist came back from behind me, and she was like, what are you doing with your prosthetic leg? I was like, I turned around and I saw her. I was like, oh man, I'm caught. I'm in trouble.
You didn't know she was going to be there, huh?
No, I didn't. I knew she was going to be there, but I was trying to avoid her as much as I could. Yeah. So she was like, you're supposed to be in your wheelchair. You shouldn't be on your prosthetic leg. So sure enough, we had my wheelchair. So I still had my prosthetic leg on, and my sister sat me on my wheelchair and was wheeling me throughout the whole conference pretty much. But my whole point is, like you said, you can't take stuff for granted because the day tomorrow, it could be taken from you. And I was at the age where I was lifting weights. I thought I was
pinnacle, really, man.
I was invincible.
Having not even probably reached your pinnacle yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, nothing can happen to me. And sure enough, the accident happened, and here I am now.
No,
I think it's a mind thing. I think what everybody has, the biggest obstacle everybody has is their own mind. Because people, when they try something, and I was guilty of it before. If I tried something and I couldn't do it, that's it. I couldn't do it. Instead of trying it a second time, instead of trying it a third time, to trying it a fourth time until I was able to get it. So that's what my message to everybody is: don't let your mind dictate what you can and what you can't do. You have to overthink your mind and say, you know what, I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try it again until I accomplish the task that I was doing.
Exactly.
What's hard for me right now, what was life-changing, is being a very independent person. Everybody can tell you, I had my tractor. I had my 5 acres. I had my tractor. I had my trailer. I would haul my trailer by myself to my land, cut my grass, put the tractor back on the trailer, go back to my dad's place, shop to go drop it off, and then go home. Now, I was being dependent of somebody
now
to
you got to hit
to
somebody
do it.
up, right?
Right.
Okay, I want to do this. I want to, can you help me out?
But so that's what I put myself in my mind. It's like, you know what? I can live my life the way I was before. It was life-changing because now it takes me to get dressed. It used to take me 2 to 3 minutes. Now it takes me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I was still able to get dressed by myself. So what my message to everybody is, don't let your mind tell you you can't do this, because you really can if you try and try and try again until you're able to do that task. And now getting dressed now takes me from 8 minutes, it takes me 5 minutes now. So I'm cutting my time little by little.
Oh, man.
So you just got to get used to your new being, pretty much.
It's a beautiful thing, man, honestly. Just the message you're spreading right now, that essentially it's don't give up, right? Dig deep. Find your anchor that's going to propel you forward, right? And it really is. I mean, I say but it is. It's a beautiful thing, right? And I think I'm coming to understand. I don't even want to pretend to be on the same level as you or Mike, right? I mean, you guys were, like Michael said, you were his god brother growing up. Y'all were close. I don't want to be the youngin here pretending to claim he knows things, but I think I'm coming to understand that sometimes all you get in life is the way you approach things, right? Sometimes a lot of times, life is unfair. It seems to be, right? And you see somebody else and you're like, oh, that's why is he reaping all the benefits and I'm struggling over here, At the end of the day, who are we really to judge, right? What we don't know. Everybody has got something that they're going through.
Right.
And what we have, though, and I think what you exemplify more than anybody I really know, personally, like Mike said earlier, it just hits as close to home as me as it gets, really, is that you're putting in action that free will that you have, that the way you choose to approach and react to, who's to say at the end of the day? We could say right now it was a shit hand, but who's to know, man? I don't know. You were saying that you were really independent before, and now you're having to be dependent on people you love, so maybe that's a blessing in disguise, really. I don't want to claim to know everything at all, right? I don't even want to pretend, but my dad told me, really, because like Mike said, when this happened, it really, I didn't even really know what to think, I was just like, wow, Bicos is in pain. I was in the hospital. I'm seeing everybody crying. I'm seeing everybody sad. I'm thinking about you. Like, man, that's a terrible. And then you put it into perspective. Like, if that was me, I don't know if I could do it. Honestly, I don't know if I'd want to do it, if I could do it, if I could dig down deep enough to do it, right? And then my dad, we had like a heart-to-heart one night about it because I was pretty upset, and just a lot of other stuff that was going on personally at the time too. It just like all kind of culminated into like at the time what seemed like a big shit situation. And he was like, hey, everything happens for a reason. And at first glance, that kind of pisses you off. Like, oh, that's easy to say. Everything happens for a reason. That's just like a cop out. It's easy to say that, right? But you don't have a real reason for it. You don't understand it. But one of the things he told me was like, hey, man, everything happens for a reason. And at first it hit me wrong because he's like, and God does things for a reason to people for a reason. And at first it sounds like you're saying like God did this to Bicos, like God wanted this for Bicos. It's like, no, that's probably not what happened, you know? He's like, no, that's not what I meant. I'm saying sometimes God puts these tests and these situations, and I put people in circumstances who he knows can handle it, you know, who he knows can get through it, right? And it's easy for me to sit here and tell you that, like, hey, God put you in this. It's easy to get through it because you're the one at the end of the day, that's obviously with the love and support with your family, but it's you at the end of the day who has to make the decision to go through it, right, to live through it, right? So it's easy for me to say that now, but I honestly believe, dude, wholeheartedly that everything does happen for a reason, and that had it happened to anybody else, I really don't think they'd be able to react and approach the situation in such the inspiring way you have, man, honestly. And that's not me just trying to fill this podcast with words or try to kiss ass or anything. That's honestly my down to the core belief, dude. That
I think if I can kind of piggyback off of that too, again, I don't know if I'm a firm believer in 100% if that things happen for a reason. Shit happens, right?
Right.
And like you said, you get dealt a shit deck of cards sometimes, and it's up to you to make up for it and run with it. To me, I think we can all agree 100% on something, though, is that a lot of times life is shit, right? And we unfortunately get held a bad deck of cards, you know, a bad hand most of the time, and it's how we overcome that. But you know, so for those, because you know, we do have a little bit of a following on the podcast. Not that we invited you for that, right? But obviously a lot of family watches it. And I know a lot of the family's inspired already by it, and I'm sure they're all going to tune into it. But there's some people that really don't know you, right? This is the first time they're seeing you, like friends of Matthew and Jonathan and stuff like that. But just kind of taking it back, you know, this didn't just happen to like some like normal Joe walking down the street, right? So at the prime of your career, you're a goalkeeper in soccer. That was your sport. Like that was your shit. You owned it. And you played for the best team in the best league in Houston for what, 5, 6, 7 years or something like that with the Fury. So, and then I don't know how many like goalkeeper of the year did you win there? Probably almost every year, right?
Well, when he started taking track of it, it was only like 2 years.
But still, he should have fucking got it every year because y'all won the championship every year.
Pretty much.
If there's shitty goalkeeper, y'all wouldn't have won. But anyway, so this happened to what I guess what I'm getting at is that before this happened, you had a lot of shit going for you, and you take away something that somebody not only enjoys doing but is really good at it. It can really bring somebody down, like you said. And I think for a short period of time after the accident, you kind of went through that.
Yeah, I did.
But what I kind of want to tell you, man, is like, I don't look at you and respect you because of all the goalie of the years that you won, or because you're a good athlete. Because those in the family know you were.
You saved your ass a lot of times in those
games. I never played on that team.
Yeah. Missing penalties.
And if I would have.
You played with us with Mexico.
Yeah. He was like a fucking. So
I had like one
good game. Defense.
So getting mad at your ass because you're sorry.
Well, what I was getting at is like, I don't respect you for that. And it's just like, not to sound like cliche or anything like that. I don't respect you for that. I don't look up to you for that. I look up to you for what we talked about earlier.
The accomplishments.
The accomplishments on the personal level, you know, chasing the degree, following your brother's footsteps, who in my opinion was a good leader for all of the cousins in the family. And I think he kind of laid the foundation for what we all are today. And it's actually funny talking about your brother, because I think when I would spend a night at your house all the time, his ass was always locked in the room. He would wake up like at 4 and then leave, and I would never see him again. I never talked to him.
He hated you guys so much that he built an extra room in their back living room to get away from y'all, man.
He would wake up, chow down on breakfast, and then gone, bro.
You wouldn't see him.
I would never see his ass till like 3 more weeks.
He'd see you like on the couch, like,
but no, honestly, like I think now that I'm older with a family and he has his family too, he's probably like the closest cousin. You know, we've gone on fucking vacations together, and I've seen more of your brother than I did like my whole first 18 years of life. But getting back to your point, I don't respect you because of the soccer and all that. And I know it sucks. I know it does, dude. That, you know, you can't play maybe one day, but right now you can't, and it sucks. But I think the positive that I've seen in the year and a half that you've like been coming around after your accident and stuff, I see you like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe it's a front. I don't know. And I'm not trying to call you out, but I see you like a different Bicos, dude, like a more confident guy. I see you more talkative, and every time you come to parties, we have a damn good time, dude.
So full of life.
Honestly,
really,
full of life, honestly, bro. Not that you weren't before. I just see you.
I was more reserved.
I see you in a different light now. Like you're not that reserved guy.
Right.
You know, you come. There was times that you just wouldn't come, you know, because you wanted to stay home or whatever. You wanted to do your own thing. And now, like, you come, you look. It seems like you look forward to coming. We have a good time.
So, well, I don't. Not to your house.
And I just see that, and I really enjoy it. You know, I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy when we have good times. You were here, for my dad's party a month and a half ago. I thought we had a great time. You know, we talk serious, and then we joke a lot of the time.
Right.
But I think it's a Bicos 2.0 in my opinion.
A revamp Bicos.
It's honestly like a revamp thing. And to me, I'm not gonna say bigger and better because you're an awesome person before the accident. But I think now it's a different Bicos. But I think you're just as cool, if not cooler. Somebody that I've always respected, and like Matthew's talked about it, dude. The biggest thing about you is that you're so smart, and not just like an electrical engineer
like
nerd,
a book smart,
not like a nerd.
Yeah.
But you talk about sports, you talk about politics, you talk about engineering, you talk about work. Anything, you can hold your own in the conversation, dude. And to me, that holds a lot of weight. For me, dude, love you. Always have, always respected you. I just think after this accident, like I respect you to a whole nother level because not many people can go through what you went through and
there's no other
not
choice,
only
right?
not only just
no
live it
but
and just continue enjoying life, but to come out like even better, like and having that positive outlook on life, you know. And that to me, dude, like I said, I can't even put into words going through something like that, much less staying positive and just talking about your experience and sending that positive message to everybody. That's my biggest thing.
I think that what hurt me the most, to tell you the truth, is not being able to play basketball with you guys.
Yeah.
I remember when glad that we didn't play this season because
you're glad. We got our asses handed to you.
The first game we lost by like 58.
I remember when you went to go.
God was setting you up like on this life-changing journey adventure.
God was like, I'm sorry to do this, but you're going to thank me. You're going to thank me after this.
You'll thank me later, right? Like a better person for all this. And, you know, he's going to be a great person. Everything's going to work out for him in the end. But Matthew, Michael, and Jonathan, and fucking Tito and Oscar, sorry asses showed up to half the season, bailed on us, are going to get their asses handed to them in basketball.
Yeah, because I remember
it was bad.
God works in mysterious ways, bro.
We played. And nah, fuck that. Tito and Oscar were there.
I said for half the season.
We had 12 people. We had like a stock bench. 12 of us.
We had like a player coach
and honestly,
guy like coaching us.
Honestly,
we're getting our asses handed.
The other team only had 4 fucking players, dude. 4 fucking players. Not bench, like 4 fucking players, period. And we kept up with them. We were winning by like 1. They'd go up by like 3. And then their 5th player showed up with like 6 minutes left. We lost that game by like 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
These dudes were like college ass fucking players. They're like 6'6", like.
And we needed that ruthless aggression from Bicos, man. Because I remember,
I would honestly, dude, I would have much rather fought every game than get my ass whipped. You know,
that's what we needed Bicos. Because you're a little bitch. You didn't do it. I said, hey, Mike, go start a fight. You're like, no, that dude's kind of big. Like, you know. I was like, my shoulder hurt. Like, yeah, I twisted my ankle. Like,
yeah,
Mike, you haven't even played yet.
I remember when you went to go visit me, I did the basketball symbol, and you're like. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about that. No.
He's like, no, shh. He's like, that was in your dream state. That didn't happen. You dreamt that. That wasn't real.
What basketball league?
I came in like cast and like crunch. Like, no.
We kept carrying him like in those soccer games when I'd get injured. Like somebody has like his leg and all that. We're like, Because it was so
honestly,
bad.
Dude, most of the games, honestly, it was that like what's that one like where they go up so much they have to call the game?
The friendly, when they like if they were up by 40, the game didn't even end. They just end the game because they're up by so much.
I forgot what it was
like the third quarter, and like the ref blew it and was like, "This shit's over." Like, fuck that. Y'all ain't coming back.
There's no way they're coming back.
Like, just call the damn match, right? Throw the towel in.
You're like,
yeah. It was terrible, man.
Oh man.
Honestly, and I'll just piggyback like off what Mike was saying earlier, dude. Honestly, I mean, I've heard stories like growing up, like, oh, like don't piss off Bicos because that dude, don't beat him in a game because he's gonna get upset. But for me, because I was, your younger cousin, I mean, I don't. There was a point in my life where I didn't see you as an adult already. You know what I mean? I still remember you picking me up from kindergarten and the Honda. Yeah, my mom would call, "Oh, can you go pick up Matthew?" So I mean, just from day one, I've always seen you in that respectable adult light,
almost for you, right?
Yeah, like almost like a big brother, like you said. He's your god brother, but I see my older cousins, and I mentioned it last podcast because Tito was kind of like the cutoff point where I see like as my. I told you, like we talked earlier this week. I was like, yeah, he's kind of like an equal. I feel more relaxed around them just because we've done a lot of stupid shit together. Yeah, we grew up, but like for you guys, there's almost like I was nervous calling you, man. I told you, I was like, man, I'm nervous calling you just because I feel like I'm talking to an adult, like a respectable person, right? Like, oh, I don't want to get in trouble here. Like, am I saying,
calls it like Bicos, hello?
Yeah, Bicos, hello? I'm like breathing all heavy.
He like grabbed his phone.
He was like, who is this, right? Father Marty?
Bitch.
Yeah, like, damn, no. And
he's like, Dad, do you mind inviting Bicos to the podcast?
Yeah,
call him. You know him better.
Yeah, hella. Can you tell Beto to tell Alan, to tell Michael, to tell Bicos to come over this weekend for a podcast? No, man. But honestly, growing up, I've heard all these like, Bicos TV, and I was there. I was privy to some of those games where y'all were going at it, where people were holding you back, and I'm like fucking just eating my popcorn, like, God damn, like what is going on here?
Like LeBron James said, get your popcorn.
Yeah,
ready.
Exactly. Like, just get it from the fans and all that. Like, shit, this is good. We had a good game here, No, man. But honestly, for me, like growing up, you were always that. Because people always say, Bicos, they correlate that fiery attitude. And I for sure saw it. But for me, I've only experienced the cool, calm, and collected Bicos, right? The guy that, he was the role model for me there. And Michael was kind of attesting to it a little while ago, that when you come and, he means well. I don't think he says, I agree completely with what Michael was saying. And it's not like there's a better version of Bicos, right? It's just now when you come around, I see it, man. There's like an element of reality and realness, right? Because you went through something that really forced you to, and then that way you really are lucky. Because some people go their whole lives without ever really knowing who they truly are. It's almost like a torment, like a torture. And you've had the ability to really get in tune with yourself, and you know who you are. And when you walk around, people can't deny it, man. Like Michael was saying earlier, there's no, like, you can't feel anything but respect and admiration for what you've gone through, the way you've handled it, the way you've reacted to all of it, man. So that's my biggest thing, man. Honestly, keep coming around, keep going, and it's only going to get better, honestly. That's my honest, down-to-earth belief that, the sky's the limit, really.
I think it goes back to real quick, just kind of what we talked about earlier, how, like, Salito started the whole trend with the degree and pursuing that extra education, right? That continued education. And then right after him, you followed. And then, now, your sister got it. All my brothers, my two brothers and my sister got the degrees.
Do you sense like a sense of arrogance though from Salito, Bicos, and Melanie though? Like they all got degrees. They're the only family that all got degrees.
I think Salito's.
I feel it a little bit.
I'm glad that bitch ain't here, dude.
Who?
Salito.
Yeah, Salito and Melanie, man. You're good. Them. They got to work on. They got to do an ego check when they come to the door.
It was
bro,
like
honestly.
I'm too cool. Like I have to get my own room built.
Right after.
I have to get my own room built behind this big ass fish tank.
Or he had Mario on the computer, right? He had like a Mario game. I remember.
Honestly, you would go into Salito's room.
He was cool with me because he'd always say, "Hey, mijo," like Bilao, and I always thought that was weird because all my tios would call me that, like Bilao, mijo. But Salito's the only one of my cousins who calls me that, and I'm like okay with, right? Like if anybody else were to call me that, I'd be bitch. Like,
what do you mean?
The hell out of here, Like who are you? Don't ever do that again.
Like the coolest thing was like sneaking into Salito's room.
No,
he wasn't
let me.
there.
He let me. So I have nothing.
That bitch looked like the Matrix in there, dude. Like the screens, like
he had his bed and all like 3 screens. I think it was like 3 computer screens, and that dude was just Neo, Keanu Reeves on that. So
he starts it, right? And just the biggest thing is like just what I was getting at is like following that footstep. Somebody has to start it, dude. Because if Salito wouldn't have started, maybe somebody would have, but it all takes that like starting. I think if Salito wouldn't have got his degree, I would have probably got mine first.
I don't know. If Salito didn't get his degree, bro, you'd be like on South Post Oak shooting heroin right now, bro. So goddamn.
My thing is like,
don't ever compare yourself honestly, like that again.
Growing up, I was like, if no one gets their degree, I'm gonna get it first.
Yeah, you want to be the first one.
I was like, well,
it's over.
It.
Yeah.
No, man. He's like, Salito didn't get his degree, so now I can hang out with Melanie more. Like, if he can, like, bring me into her chola ways. Like, she's gonna hate me after this, bro. I'm talking too much shit now. They laughed at it the first time, and now I'm just taking it overboard. So I'm sorry. I apologize.
But just kind of like ending it. So we talked about like starting the trend, and I think just having that positive attitude is gonna start that trend, like to where people already look up to you and admire you, but they just see that positive way, man. Honestly, right now you're like probably the biggest. I hate to say example because it sounds weird, like we're showcasing you, but you're honestly the biggest person that we look up to and admire in the family. And I don't think that's just me, my brothers. I think it's the entire family. Yeah. Whether they tell you or not, I'm sure they feel it, bro. And you're a big inspiration to all of us. And like I said, man, we love you. And
good gets better, man. Good gets better. So
it does.
When you have
it has gotten better.
Built, we're gonna go fucking tear it up.
That house,
January, February.
Oh yeah,
not with the Tecates. I wasn't really feeling those tonight.
The Tecates were good.
They're all over the place right now.
They're all over the place, but there's a reason.
Well, y'all sure are drinking them.
Yeah, we sure are drinking the hell out of them, Matt. I don't see you drinking your whiskey.
But nah, I guess the battery running out or whatnot. But
it's just usually the cutoff point that we usually do. But man, so
it was fun being here, talking with you guys, and reminiscing about old times. So I really appreciate you inviting me.
Thank you.
Both of y'all invited me.
Is completely on this side of the spectrum, 150%. Honestly, man.
And I think anybody can go through what I'm going through if they had the support and love from the family, because the family and the support in the family and the prayers really got me through where I needed to get to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And having a strong brother and a strong sister, brother-in-law who was going to work, going to the hospital, going to work, going to the hospital. It was key, man. You guys, prayers, going to the hospital, it's like, that really lifted me up, to say the truth, man. It's like, giving up on my life was like giving up on you guys. So it's like, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of us ever saw it as a real. I think most of us knew that's not how Bicos' story was going to end, so kudos to you, man.
Thank you. Yeah, like, it was tough. It's different. Life's different, but it's not over. I mean, you just got to find the positive of every negative and continue going through it.
There always is one.
Yeah, there is one
somewhere.
Yeah, you just got to find it.
Exactly. You got to be willing to look for it, I think. No, man, thanks so much for being on here. And we look forward to seeing what's in store for you, bro. Because like I said, good gets better. And I know you were mentioning that, hey, man, maybe this takes you down, public, inspirational speaker, motivational speaker, public speaking. You have, I know me and Ross always joke like we're going to join a book club because we like reading books and writing and whatnot, but you have the making for a great ass book right now. I'm envious for that reason right now. No, I'm teasing, man. But like there's so many routes for you right now that you can go, man. And the sky's the limit. And I think for me personally, I cannot wait to see, honestly, what you end up,
what the future holds,
the future holds for you, and what you end up ultimately doing, right? So thanks so much.
And going back to your point is, everybody has a purpose in life, and it's up to you to find that purpose.
Yeah.
And if you have to look for that purpose to be able to fulfill your life, pretty much. And that's what my search is right now, is to find that purpose.
And ultimately, I think you're saying it should be everybody's searches, right?
Right.
Find the ultimate meaning. And with that, man, I'm getting the notifications that it's time to call it for a wrap. So, again, thank you so much for being here, Beak. Appreciate it so much, man.
Thank
Me
y'all.
and Mike, I'm speaking for us, but I know the whole Guzman family would agree with what I'm about to say. We love you so much, man. We look forward to seeing what you got, what life's got in store for you, what you're going to accomplish. thanks for being here, man. We got to do it again, you know. So
for sure.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate
GforGuzman podcast, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night, and we're out of here, man. Thank you.
Woo.